When George Washington spoke to the nation in his farewell address in 1793, he warned the people of the danger of a two-party system. He warned of partisanship over compromise, party platforms over the people. And now, 200 years later, we live in that America. Just as pro is the opposite of con, progress is the opposite of Congress. Both parties are guilty, but Republicans have paid the price. They now hold only the majority in Congress, but have neither the Senate nor the presidency. And it's no wonder. They have stuck to old ideas and have not been willing to reform. They're called the Grand Old Party for a reason. They inspire patriotism and fiscal responsibility. They inspire liberty, but they're slipping. In 2016, the Republican Party could win by focusing on their fiscal plans, becoming more socially moderate, appealing to the youth, and encouraging minority votes. My first point is that they should focus on their fiscal plans over their social plans. Now, I'm very interested in civic education, so I went on Facebook one day and asked my friends, what can the Republican Party do to appeal to the youth? And I got a lot of different answers from a variety of different things, but one of my most liberal friends said something very simple. Focus on the legitimacy of their fiscal plans rather than their social plans. According to the Pew Research Center, 87% of youth support gay marriage, and therefore it will become reality eventually. It will pass eventually. By barring it further and further, and using it as one of their main platforms, the Republicans are only hurting themselves. By becoming so socially moderate, they open up to more and more people, votes they desperately need, including the youth. Now, when Mitt Romney chose his vice presidential pick for this election, he chose Paul Ryan. And that said something about the Republican Party. Paul Ryan is very conservative, even more so than Mitt Romney. So, by choosing him, Mitt Romney proved that he was trying to appeal to the Tea Party. He was trying to appeal to the really socially conservative people instead of the general population. Instead of choosing someone more moderate, he chose someone more conservative. And that tells you that this Republican Party is more willing to stand by the ideals that are very unpopular in today's world than to work on reform and appeal to people who are more moderate than them. The Republicans are losing people quickly. They are far too conservative. Most moderates don't appreciate the amount of slander that's going on in the Republican world and the harshness of their policies. But if we encourage them to be more moderate, if they focus on the legitimacy of fiscal responsibility while not focusing on the harsh of their social plan, it not only appeals to more people, but it encourages bipartisan reform in Congress, because it shows Democrats in Congress that Republicans are willing to compromise. The Republicans will reform, and that they're not stubborn, and that they will take things into consideration from the people. This leads to a more productive Congress and a better future for the Republican Party. But my second point is that they need to appeal to the youth. Now, every day in my first semester, an announcement came on the intercom. The California Democrats want you. Come to the College and Career Center and sign up for an internship or volunteer position. So every day, in the first semester, I waited. I waited for the Republicans to come on. I waited for the Republicans to say they want you, the youth, to support them, to be a part of something greater, to be a part of their party. They never came. So I went on the internet, and I found an email address, and it said if you emailed, they would give you information about intern and volunteer opportunities. So I emailed, and they never responded. If I reach out as a young person to a party, if I reach out, unlike many people who aren't even interested, and I am met with nothing, then how are they supposed to encourage those who aren't as interested, and who would rather sit back and don't want to volunteer? By not putting themselves out there to the youth, they're only hurting themselves. And there could be a lot of complicated answers on how to appeal to the youth and how Republicans could change their entire party to appeal to the youth. But the easiest way to appeal to the youth is to appeal to the youth. It's to talk to youth and to encourage the youth, and that is something that the Republican Party has not done, and it doesn't look like it's going to do in the near future. But this can change. Now, just to stress the importance of the youth in the Republican Party. In the last election, if the election were to be decided by voters 18 to 25, every single state besides Texas would go to Obama. 49 states would go to Obama. Now, it's been said many, many times that young people are more liberal and old people are more conservatives, but that's just not a phase. That is a huge number that won't get better unless the Republicans take on serious reform. And my third point is that they need to encourage minority voters. Republicans are often stereotyped by people of all ages as being rich white people who are CEOs and don't care about the problems of other people. And to be honest, they might deserve it. None of their candidates for higher office are minorities. There are strong minorities in the Republican Party. Marco Rubio, Bobby Jindal, Mia Love, to name a few. There are many Republicans that would be great in a higher office. Bobby Jindal was the youngest person to serve as the Secretary of Health in the state. He is one of 3 Indians in Congress and the son of an immigrant. He is known for his fiscal responsibility and has one of the highest approval ratings of any governor in the country. He would be great in higher office. But the Republicans choose people who are more conservative than him and who would not appeal to more people. And they face the consequences. Marco Rubio is the son of a Cuban immigrant. He is known for bringing people into the political process. He created a show where he accepted questions from the people that he served so they would know more about what he is doing as a senator and how their country is going. He would be great in higher office. He would be great as a representative of the Republican Party, yet this is not happening. Because the Republicans are not appealing to the youth and not appealing to minorities and making no effort to reform, they are suffering the consequences. We're reminded again of George Washington's immortal dream. A dream of bipartisan compromise. A dream of a better world. Now let me be clear. Compromise alone isn't enough. If my house were on fire, I couldn't compromise on what part of it I wanted to save. You either save the whole house or it'll all burn down. But Republicans are burning down. And the only thing that can save them is bipartisan reform, appealing to people of all ages in all places, and making their party more relatable.